So as often as you can, get yourself out on nature. Now we're going to talk about GMO foods and GMO humans. Is it the same process? Okay. So GMO foods, do you know, well, let's look at, some of us believe that humans are genetically modified, right? Have you heard that before? So how that's done is by suppressing the feminine. You might have heard that before too. Remember the car battery? One side's unplugged, not very empowered. Now, guess how they genetically modify food, plants? They remove the feminine. There's no nectar in genetically modified plants, and it can't reproduce. So why is there such a big drive to force genetically modified food on us? Well, do you think that there's some people that have a bigger agenda of trying to hold on to that experience of compression for us, because they would like to keep us in compression because they feed off of our energy this way? So they're really holding on, you know, trying to hold on to that past experience. It's like somebody who had a good haircut in high school that's been wearing it their whole life, you know, holding on because those were the good days. So these people of compression are really holding on to that. And so I'm not looking at them like the bad guys, which we're going to talk about here, but you can see that's just one of the many things that they're doing to try to keep us in that state of compression. So I always choose organic whenever possible, and that's why, is because when you're eating your food, it's helping to remind you how to be in that balance and bringing the feminine up. Okay, so how do we fight the bad guys? That was one of my questions, because I was seeing all this, the chemtrails and the this and that. You know, you could just drive yourself crazy with all these conspiracy, I don't know if conspiracy is even the right word, but awareness of what's going on around us. And I was just like, what do we do? What, all those little precious souls that are stepping back into ourselves, how do we fight this big, huge, compressive guys that are doing this stuff to us? And I hear we don't have to fight it at all. And I heard Mama Earth, as her vibration is raising, as she's raising up, those things that are of a polarized low vibration will not be a match for the new energy. And oh, did I feel relief then. I was like, oh, they're naturally either going to shift up to a higher vibration or they won't be around. And I was like, what a relief. I don't have to do anything about it. And in fact, being in fear, putting our energy into that is exactly what they would like us to do, because that keeps us compressed. When we're in fear or really upset over things, that keeps us in compression. They love that. They'll keep feeding us more things to be afraid about, you know, just so that they can keep our minds on those things. So release your attention from that. Bring it back to bringing yourself back into balance, that love, that being, that centered, whether in your heart, your pineal, and I recommend going to excitement of the future, which we're going to talk about. It's going to get very exciting when we have a look at the human super abilities and what's around the corner for us that is titillating, let's call it. Okay, keep in alignment with nature. We talked about that. Choose nature whenever you can. Whenever you have a choice, because our lifestyle has gotten so synthetic. We're so cut off from the natural energies. And when you see why nature is so important, oh, nature can read us, by the way. And how I discovered that is when people will be wearing an armful of bracelets, they'll go, Kaitlyn, how come when I'm really stressed, my stress bracelet gets hot? Or whatever situation their bracelet, and I'd go, I don't really know, but I'll ask my inner knowing and see if I can find out. And what I got was that, actually this popped up into my awareness, the guy that invented the lie detector test, he hooked that up to a plant, and he just thought in his head as he's sitting there, what would happen if I burn a leaf on that plant? The plant freaks out on the lie detector test. And he says, this is so exciting, we now have evidence that plants can read our mind. And this was a breakthrough. So he thought, well, okay, they did all these other experiments with it, but it found out they can do more than read our mind. They know our intentions behind our thoughts. They're so in tune with us. So that's why when we're looking at nature or something synthetic, always choose nature, because nature, again, can read you. And the synthetic can bring an energy, but it can't read you. So it might work, but it's not reading you, and it doesn't know how much you need, when you need, and most importantly, when to back off. It's just going to bring that energy. Plus, nature has this balance that it brings us back into, which we're going to learn about. The synthetic disaligns us. Synthetic disaligns us, and nature brings us back into alignment. Understanding how EMF works. So EMF is all around us in the air. It's thick. It's the elephant in the room no one wants to talk about. It's thick in your air. All the wireless everything. But let's understand how it works. We have so much electronics around us. Probably you a lot, yes. Well, EMF is just, let's look at the polarities. You got the earth energy, that one on top, the white, the plus one. It's a spirit, it's an energy you don't see. And it's a polarized to the male energy. So EMFs are daddies looking for love in all the wrong places. So when you're working, if you were working on electronics or talking on your cell phone, you're outside barefoot on the earth, that wouldn't be a problem because all those daddy energies that come running out of the electronics would find mommy energies all around you. You're grounded, you've got all this energy, and it would bounce, because it always seeks balance, these energies do. And so they're always wanting to come into that balance. So if you're talking on these and you're inside and you don't have all that nature around you, guess what the next organic thing is? It's our bodies. So that's why EMFs are harmful for us, is they're etching that mommy energy off of our bodies. So I have some little tools that help bring that mommy in. And so when it comes out, it's like, oh, it's got a date right away with mom and it leaves you alone. And the pineal, let's talk about the pineal. It's like, it's becoming like a neutron. You guys know the pineal, the pine cone? Okay, the left and the right brain, the pineal in the middle. And I believe that pineal is going to be a big part of our superhuman abilities. And it's about igniting that. And I asked, well, how do we, oh, by the way, this is the largest statue in the Vatican. You think they know something's going on with that? And so again, the pineal looks like a pine cone. And so when the pineal ignites. So what's the magical balance, I wanted to know, between the two sides of the brain to ignite that in the center? How do we unlock those superhuman abilities? And the answer is in the pine cone. And the feminine that swirls up is 8. And the masculine that swirls down is 5. There's 5 swirls coming down, there's 8 swirls going up. That's the magic combination. That's 8 to 5. So if we're looking at, left side of the brain versus right side of the brain, you'd want 8 on the feminine to 5 on the masculine. And that comes to 1.618, which is pi. It's the golden mean. It's the magic number. And that's the balance. And I go, okay, so how do we do that? How do we get ourselves into that balance? And I was shown, when you logically try to get an answer and you get stuck, so I laid down and I just got shown a little flash of water. I'm like, water, okay, and I processed that for about a week. So we're made up of water, and water is the in-between. Ice would be the lower, the cold, the lower vibration, and steam would be the colder, so water is the in-between. And we are made up mostly of water, and water is affected very much by its surroundings. Most of you know that by now from some of the studies that have been done. Water will take on whatever the vibrations around it are. So when we drink water and it's polarized to the masculine, so any glass of water, any thing that we're carrying around drinking out of is very quickly formed to the polarized masculine frequency around us. And so if we had water that was in tune to nature and it would be at the 1.618 ratio, and we're drinking that would help remind our being how to get back into that same balance as well. Because we're already so polarized to the masculine, we really want to start bringing up some of that Mama Earth, that feminine balance. So everything is changing in our world, and as I was saying, I think we're all going to be a collective part of recreating how things work, because I can tell you, dramatic shift in all the things how things work around us now is all going to be changing to fit the new energies. And you guys are going to, you probably already noticed, you're starting to get more ideas, your brain's waking up more. The percentage of your brain that you use, I believe, is in direct correlation to the vibration of the planet, because it's how much energy we have. Also affects your aging process, how long you're going to live. I have this whole chart with that we're not going to have time for today. So coming up with new ideas that are in alignment with the new energy. And if I have just enough time, wow, this worked perfectly, I am going to show you a little thing about the water. So we are going to just do where we're going to have an audio here for about 6 minutes. And then I'll wrap up the talk with just a couple minute little kind of summary of what we talked about.